Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we have Kenyon on Gwen, the only one who's having success with the champion. You would have noticed that I put her on the tier list on the thumbnail, said this is OP, specifically a high elo, but if you are talented enough, you can actually play it in other arenas as well, but Kenyon is the only one that... He played this before, right? We've had him on the channel with Gwen. The passive buff, 50% increase on that, plus a flat scaling increase as well. You're looking at a champion that's just... She's not going to gank. She's not going to skirmish. She's going to have high econ, high CSPM, which means experience per minute, high gold per minute through good sequencing. And once she's hit level 6, she's got that slow, her ganks open up. And once she gets 1-2 items, basically sacrifice something because she will run you down. You can have a 2,500 gold lead and she will still take you out because she has true damage on that Q. She has healing and max HP damage on that passive. She has empowered attacks on that E, which is why we started it. We have resistances and tankiness. On the W, we have everything. And now, of course, we have here a ward being placed by Kenyon, and that's because we had a ward early on placed when he was starting. So we all know exactly where he was. We saw the Viego on the minimap. Hopefully you did see that. And we have Renekton, strong Croc on the top side versus Kennen. Can you believe that they gave the sucker 40-second increase at max rank on that cooldown? I don't want to see him at Worlds. Can we just revert that and let him be a rat somewhere else? That's my personal bias, but honestly, does anyone really want to see Kennen again at Worlds? I don't. So, what you're going to be doing here is much like you will be doing with Briar, which I will make a video on soon. Yeah, full clear. Chill, full clear, and have a look. Now, we see. Can we fight the enemy jungle and scuttle? Can we gank mid lane? Can we gank top lane? You know, you have to make those executive decisions, and we know that the Viego will be doing a full clear and it will be slower, right? And that was a pretty quick full clear, by the way. We're 319 in the river. We're not going to try and fight the Viego over that scuttle crab. Instead, we're going to go ahead and gank the mid lane. And this is the kind of stuff I really, really like. You have to pay attention to the flash there. We used our ghost, and we don't overchase. That's all we're looking for first rotation ganks, because we don't have CC. We have only slows on our ultimate, but that's about it. So, in the way you think of Graves, right? Graves doesn't have any CC utility, but his smokescreen is one of the most broken abilities in the game. And so basically, this is not quite the Agurin strategy of, hey, I full cleared, I don't want to fight over this, I don't really want to deal anything to the top lane or do anything to the mid lane, I'm going to go back to base and take the opposite scuttle. Instead, here we say, look, I know that this is range versus melee, and in theory, Renekton has kill threat, but it's still a Kennen. And I don't want to fight the Viego, which is a mistake most people make. Champion and high elo is pretty juiced and strong as well. If you want help implementing this information into your own game, I have a free jungle improvement resource and a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly coaching classes, Q&As, patch note rundowns, private high elo streams, as well as a private jungle Discord. And I know how to make junglers convert from low elo to gold to emerald to diamond to master plus. If you want to climb faster than anybody you know, jungle diff every game you play, head to virkayu.gg. And of course, the downside to making the Viego do this is look, he has to wait. Now you might think, well, that was only microseconds. Doesn't matter. Every second advantage you get in high elo in terms of tempo and control and dictating pace, it's a W. Because the guy full clears now, goes to take the topside scuttle, you know, it's not really diveable, it's Renekton anyway, and mid lane is ganked first by Gwen. So we took away an option. He's forced to go back to base. What we do is, we watch our bottom lane here, we ping this off, we'll say, look, dude's on his Krugs. Could easily show up, which of course he does, right? That's what we're looking at here. I was trailing the action a little bit. As soon as you go back to base as Gwen, and you start up, or any farming jungle, you start up your Grump again, and you know that the Viego didn't show anywhere else, as we see this get hit as well, so we know where he is also. You ping this. You say, guys, on a second spawn Krugs. You could come bottom lane. Please, bottom lane, listen. What will most likely happen is they won't listen, but just don't compromise yourself too much when it happens. You accept it, you go, as always, right? And you keep on sequencing. Gold per minute, experience per minute. If you stand still, you're gonna lose, because whole point of Gwen, well, that's true and it's untrue. It's true because you want to get those spikes soon. It's untrue because it doesn't matter when you get the spikes. When you get them, you're strong and you can run people down. So, you know what I mean. Hopefully, you guys are playing with enough agency. Now, 534, we're halfway to 6. We know at this stage, because of Viego shows bottom lane, he'll have a good old-fashioned 32 CS. This is interesting here. So let's just go back 10 seconds. We know that he has 32 CS over here when he ganks this. He falls back, hits the plant. We see him hit the plant. We don't see him physically, but we see the plant get hit. He's the only one that could have done it. and he goes and does the Raptors most likely. Doesn't show up mid lane with any sort of time frame, so he's going to the top side. At this stage, you'll anticipate Guy's gonna be doing his wolves into his Gromp again. This guy's going back to base, no dive possible. So what we do is we cut in, and we're gonna go and have a look, see, right? We could hit the plant, we could see if we could gank mid lane again, as Orianna has hit level 6, and the Viego, instead of doing the Gromp, right, cuts out the Gromp because he knows Gwen would have already finished that second sequence. So what you're seeing here is game warping clear speed, much like a Karthus can have, by the Gwen. And what Kenyon's so good at here is he loops around the bottom side where it's unexpected, but he doesn't stand still. The Viego is forced to stand still and hover because Yasuo isn't quite yet level 6, probably should have focused on that 6 first. And Viego now could have gone back to his Grump, but he knows that Kenyon's going to show up on Gwen here. No flash on the Orianna, so we can just full on go in and snack ourselves that kill. And of course, Duteman shows on the bottom side. Nice little body dodge by the Viego. Let's shove this out, shall we? To help our Yasuo get a reset, because obviously no TP. Also, factor in the TP, right? When you have TP and the lane states are as they were, you will lose a little bit of that level 6 prio, as we did. And as always, 5 minute 30 wave to 6 minutes is typically the rule of thumb for when you're gonna get level 6 in the solo lanes, as we're watching a little bit of a not so good a moment, but we know Kenyon does this. So basically you look here, you've got Ziggs no mana, we've got here the Viego out of position, so we're going to go and try and kill him. He's forced to flash. We are able to move our W, which we do here, but we get rooted and stunned, and Nautilus does his thing, and Nyla rotates up. Super strong champion, and I think most of you will resonate with what you just saw. Gwen, full clear, gank. Gwen, pink bottom lane, second rotation. Ugh. Try gank. Pre-6, right? No counter jungling, no other gank success, no double scuttle, so our level 6 is delayed here. So that's what makes this play feel odd. And as soon as we see the Nautilus and we see everyone else kind of show up, you're like, hey, now we can party, but you're still not level 6. And that's right there the problem, because you have to have a lot of restraint in those scenarios. Can we try and kill Viego? Cool. Where's Nyla? Did I notice Nyla moving up? And you're not going to. Even Kenyon didn't. He was chasing the kill. He knew if he got it, he gets level 6, and he's going to run over people. So it's worth that kind of risk sometimes. Most importantly, right now, we need to get level 6, and we basically say, look, Bard, you're kind of OP. The Viego at this stage has his Grump up, but his bottom side will be up with his red. So let's go here, straight to the bottom side. We use our ult, R1 to slow the Nautilus. We'll use R2 to try and hit the Nyla. R3 is the one we actually get going, and then we'll just do a little bit of a Q snip and finish that off. Whereas Viego, you ask, probably down here crying because he decided to focus on other things, and Kenyon said, look, before I go back, I like this is what I do as well. I'm like, you guys got it, right? I got to do the dragon. You got it, right? Yeah, okay, good. And now you're thinking, should I have rotated? Just do the objective. The Viego is compromised entirely, right? Because the guy had to fall back after the skirmish. He's got his red, he's got his Krugs. And you made a proactive gank here, right? Before you farm the third sequence, the third rotation from Grump up, can I gank bottom lane? Can I service you bottom lane? Can I assist you? Can I dive you? If everything's looking good, right, and the third rotation's happening according to a regular time frame, maybe you can do Dragon before Herald spawns without having to worry too much about the time investing in ganks. That's where Gwen can be quite strong as well. Don't force the ganks, right? Look, have good assessment, good game planning. Main channel covers this. Now we go down here, and I think we can all agree this is a little silly, just given the fact that the guy only had his Grump up, and his red would have respawned, his third Krugs would have respawned, his third Raptors would have respawned. There would have been no reason for him to go to the Grump and come down, right? Let's just waste the time. So I think at this stage we should have known that Viego had done those camps. A little bit of waste of time from Kenyon, but as always, in the moment, in-game, it's different, right? That's why we have coaches and analysts and people like me who do this kind of stuff. We point it out. So in-game, you can go, I'm going to think about that next time. That's what I do for myself. And that's what I do. That's what we all do for each other, right? Whenever we're critiquing and working together and VOD reviewing together, much like in my personal site, as you would have seen from the pre-roll, that's what people do. So here, a good little refresh on tracking tendencies and also just understanding when you want to pick your pressure moments. Now, Viego does go ahead and take that Herald. Despite the fact that the Bard is there, the Nautilus shows up with the Orianna. Gwen's now basically saying, all right, do my Krugs, lose a baby, happens a lot sometimes. Bring back the old system, Machete Talisman. Please, just bring that back. Because the pets, they ended. The tick, I want more ticks. I want to drag and let things go doof, 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 doof. And that doesn't happen, man. I need my talisman for that. However, what you don't need talisman for, or maybe a talisman for, depending on how you view the universe, is a dive on the top lane with a Renekton. Level 9 cannon, up 28 CS as expected. We have Bard with us. He speeds and avoids all the doots, and then we're going to use our W for resistances and dash out of the aggro range. We'll get the snipty snip, and that's a free kill without wasting our ultimate. That was a nice dive. Shall we watch that again? Instant replay. Let's go. Cannon's going to win against Renekton. He does movement speed to dodge. He then flashes to reposition. Cannon already predicting this to position himself out of the aggro range there because the Renekton was going to go in on the cannon. All done. Nicely done. Now, Nyla is a super strong pick. One of those that just, I know, people just don't play properly, but really strong, actually. Really strong. Highly advise ADCs who are looking for a non-meta pick that you can Turbo Astro snowball games with. Definitely the one you want to go with. Virkayu does as we expect, right? He takes the Herald, his blue side full back. He's going to go back to base empowered. He knows and sees the Gwen diving top lane. Instead of worrying too much about these kinds of things and counter jungling, dive and kill the hamster wheel. Now, we do get some plates, not a lot. Canyon can come out of base here as Gwen. Gold amounts, check list. 4,000 for Canyon, 4,000 just dinged for the Virkayu. Little ahead Canyon there. And he's down at CS. But that's because Viega's pretty good, and this is why we don't need, probably warded with that prio, yeah. Worth the shot, though. I'm not a huge, I don't want to say I'm a huge person when it comes to that kind of stuff, like a hugely aggressive player. When I see bottom lane sag off, I'm like, it's probably warded if they're prio. They're going to see me, unless it's Hecarim or Rengar or something that can get in super quick. I'm more focused here on Grub Wolves, potentially a cut down into this. If dragon's spawning, but if there's no dragon, right, we're relaxed. We can just go Raptors and cut down here as well. We want to make sure we get the next gank, and it needs to be good, if possible. And if there is no gank, we're still not going to force it. Look, we're 4 out of 5 KP. We have decent econ. Dragon is not an issue whatsoever, right? So we can just go to the top side here, and we can gank the cannon because the lane is pushed, as it has been most of the game. Expected range was melee. And, here we go. You use your lightning, so we're going to smite you to slow you, which will allow, hopefully, Renekton to do something. Get closer, Croc. We do miss at R1. We do hit the R2, though. We'll hit the R3. Did we even hit the R3? Don't think it matters. Applies 1,000 cuts as well, which is your healing and your max health magic damage. Will she? Yeah, well, we used to have shields, but, yeah. It's a loaded champion still. Like, even in this current iteration, it's loaded. And a lot of you will have issues with it once she's got Nashes and Riftmaker. Now, there is some Rocket Belt tech going around just to added gap close because no flash, and obviously penetration is wonderful when you have this much magic damage. But Canyon and a lot of people in high elo still prefer Riftmaker. Omnivamp lifesteal synergy, right? You just stay alive, you never die, and you can chase people down with true damage on your Q here, right? That's the center of each strike, 50% converted to true damage. Which means even if you're a tank, voila, death, which is my problem, I think. You know, okay with you doing true damage or max health, physical magic damage, whatever, but when you do both and you heal, it's like, so what am I meant to do exactly in this situation? And a lot of times it's nothing other than stay ahead. Cut her off, stay ahead, kill her pre-6 if you can, ensure that what she wants to accomplish is taken away. Gwen sequencing top lane, gank it first. Gwen going Herald, snack it first. Gwen going to counter jungle your camps, can't because they're all down, like we saw, right? All of this stuff adds up. So now we have Virkayu with his E activated. We have Nyla in a bit of a precarious situation. He chooses to go mid lane where we were looking at that. Now we're like, okay, so you're a fed ADC. Why don't I just show up here? You see the stacks in the queue loading up there, the ignite. That's not going to do anything. We'll dash then again, which empowers our auto attacks. We're going to keep chasing, keep chasing, keep chasing, keep chasing. Nyla goes in. That was close, actually. I thought we were going to get it. But we didn't. And Virkayu, of course, rotated down. That's not so good for us, okay? However, all it takes for Gwen is one strong fight, and we can win. But I chose this game because the gold graph was blue team ahead. I think you're realizing that right now. Gold team, who's gold team? Blue team has a gold lead. Gwen has tried to be quite active. Bottom lane, not so good. Mid lane, despite oppression, not so good. Renekton 2-on-1 thumbs up, man. Like, I'm honestly super happy with my top laner at this particular stage. You're down a gazillion CS because Kennen, but you didn't die other than one time. And that was when we dove you. So that's huge, right? Losing your lane gracefully by 20, 30, 40 CS and not dying is better than anything else when you're counterpicked. And I wish more top laners would learn that and understand that. And he's a Renekton, right? He's a Renekton. So please, learn from this. If you're filled as well as a jungler, please learn from this. Although it is surprising how many top laners, junglers when filled top lane, die to junglers. You know what Kenny's most played champion is this season on this account? Think about it. I'll tell you in a second. Because Bard is being engaged upon by the Viego. He's now a level ahead. We do have to be pretty cautious here. We do have our W. We can obviously move that as necessary, but it dies out because we probably already did that and I missed it. Nautilus is out of position here, so we're just zoning a little bit. We will have, hold up, E up in a second, but our team's able to finish it up. That was close. 2-2-4. Now, what you learned there from the Gwen was spacing, right? W's down, okay? E, despite the cooldown refund mechanic, that eventually will not be usable. And obviously we have the spam spell and the Q here, 2.59 seconds. If you got nothing and they run away from you, you got nothing, right? That's the thing. You got to keep your spacing versus the Gwen. Don't worry. It's coming. This is a very Gwen game. That's why I picked it. Could have picked a 36-minute game with a gazillion kills. It's not realistic, but this is how you're going to be playing it. Even if you are, in fact, an Emerald Diamond player looking to pick up Gwen. The 2-2-4 and the Viego being 3-0-1 with 114 CS will happen. However, I will say, if we were a little less Canyon, because again, people don't realize this about Canyon. They always think everything he does has a reason. To a degree. But I've been watching this guy since 2017 solo queue, before he was a pro player, King, right? He likes to limit test a little bit. He can do random aggressive things, and there's no real reason for it. In this case, though, we finished Krugs. There's no other camps to do. We see the mid lane here. Let's say, I'll show up, because Orianna's bottom lane. TP is up, obviously, but we need to punch the map forward. Most important metric for junglers, turret damage. Please hit turrets. As Gwen, you can do that, obviously, very, very nicely. Don't activate Herald here. I don't think it'll do much. TP top lane to help the cannon kill the Renekton. We're watching this. We have TP committed by the Ziggs. Viego's here shadowing this. Gwen's going to follow through here. Okay, we got a big fight. Can we do something? Make the right risk assessment. Decides against it. Challenging. Most people would go in here and die. And then they say Gwen is weak. That's why she has a low win rate. She has a low win rate because while I hope you would be 5-2-2 and not 2-2-5, it's about this patience. High econ. And now the Viego's done a very, very, very good job having the kills, having CS, getting a dragon, snacking himself a herald. But overall, we're looking at a decent split. 6.5k gold to Canyon on Gwen, 6.8k gold on the Viego. It's a challenging game, right? Challenger junglers are not going to lie down and roll over because Canyon decided to pick Gwen, which of course he played before. But if you look at some of his other games, match history is always linked below, you see that Canyon, you know, especially in these Gwen victories, very chill. Like, you'll see low KD as, you took a journey that I don't think you wanted to necessarily take. We do get knocked up a little bit, and we get Bard ulted on top of Viego. Hook is down, most important thing. We shoot the R over the wall, which we do, of course, hit. And now we will die to the Viego here and get multiple resets. So modern design champion versus modern design champion. But the killing of the Nyla is absolutely huge for us. Okay, that was really weird. The scoreboard didn't update the kill, and I thought I saw something. Like it was 2-3-5 instead of 3-3-5. Anyway, we fixed it. We carry on. This is a tough comp for Gwen, too, because while she does really well into your melees, because she can obviously stick to them pretty easily, when there is a lot of CC, a lot of spacing, shields, obviously a good friend against Gwen and things like that, yeah, it can be tough to get onto people. Again, free kill though, nice R over the wall, and that's going to start to add up quite beautifully. We do have Leeching Leah for some Omnivamp, and we lived a little bit longer than you might have expected, even with the passive heal. But Lilia, Gwen, these are the strong champions, my friends. Why? Because they got heals. So Dragon's about to spawn. We have a Herald. We're probably going to have to give it up. So let's double time this because these kinds of games are rough on the senses and in-game. Because in-game, you imagine you're looking at this. You know straight up they're going down for the Dragon. You know that you've got this tier 1 up. You need to start to push the map. So immediately, the most important thing you can learn in this game, when you're in this game state, is give them the Dragon because they're going to be obsessed with the Dragon, thinking you're going to contest the Dragon, and they can kill you and win. No. Give it to them absolutely free. Go topside. Use your Herald. You will force a rotation. You will see Orianna out of position. We'll take the walls to get some sustain back. We have here the Nyla showing up as well now. That dragon's most likely been yeeted by 2 people, which means we've created a numbers advantage, but not committing any forces to it. You understand? Now, with the Herald, Yasuo is able to punch this and get that. Gwen says, I'm not staying for you, you're over pushing, you're gonna die. I'm gonna go mid lane here and join the Kennen. Because the dragon was taken, we know Kennen and Viego will collapse on the little hamster here. So we shadow and protect and shove. Magically, no one dies. Now Baron is up. In theory, you could pull a trick shot here. You could go straight for this. So in your lower elo games, diamond games and below, you could go ahead and, if you see someone here, just pull the trigger, right? Obviously in Challenger, they're not going to do that. We'll get the mega stuns here. We're just going to go straight in onto the Kennen who does root us. And we don't have R, which is tragic. We do have Ghost here. Full on committal by the Nyla. For some reason, a flash. Nautilus hits the hook on the Bard. Or eat one of those new buffed W's that's charging half the time from the Bard, which gives us Giga heals. Bard is broken, as in the words of One Tricks. It was an adjustment, guys. Like the Gorge Rinke Shojin were adjustments. Don't think they were. Okay, here we go. Are they doing the Baron? People are worried about that. I don't really think that's necessarily something you need to worry about because, you know, you shoved out the Kennen. The Nyla used her flash and was out of the picture, and it's just too much risk from their HP department. So we fall back to our camps once more. Guys, you're going to have runaway Gwen games, but this is representative of the stuff you're looking to think about and position. Isn't it terrible when bad things happen to good sentences? This is the kind of stuff you're going to have in game. You have to be able to navigate it. Deficits especially. You will not have, though, a Viego popping off and having a CS lead on you if you farm like this. 99% of your games. So if you use the triggers I gave you and look for the things I told you to look for and did a little bit of tracking and common sense and know when not to waste your time, you won't have the enemy jungler be ahead of you. Shouldn't. I mean, a good jungler can do, but this is always the way, right? And now we're basically in a situation where Renekton is 3-1-2. I love the way he played this game, honestly. Yasuo's going top lane here, and they just cannot punch in, right? Gwen has done a nice job. Kenin's done a beautiful job swooping back and forward in a negative game state to prevent them from punching down into a real inhib location. And now we use, this is what Kenny's really good at. And I was going to say this is what Kenny's really good at, sneaking through vision, but obviously this is warded. So if you want to do this with Gwen and go for flankings, always assume it's warded and just take the widest angle you can over the wall, just in case. But obviously we don't know that it's warded or not warded at this stage, right? Worth noting, worth noting. Once we see Kennen on the bottom side, track your TPs at this stage. They know Gwen's looking to flank. And you can do this with Gwen, right? So you got to be careful here. They're going to try and go in on us. Viego's clearing the vision. Nautilus is going to face check. We'll say, uh-oh, better leave. There you go. Got your escape route. Clear that blue trinket. Kennen pushing. Nyla over pushing because they get impatient. This is so important. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Viego's out of position, Nyla's out of position. We do have a bit of a numbers advantage. We're going to force a flash there, or the dash there, and we'll just kill the Nautilus because he's out of position for some particular reason. We hit the R as we go this way. Nyla comes in again. We get knocked back by the Ori ultimate. We dash in here. Snippy, 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 snippy. And that's it. Quadra kill. That was quick. Watch what happens again from setup, because I think these things happen too quickly sometimes. Kennen now, because he creates a prio, Renekton gets to move in, slice and dice, forces Nyla down. The Kennen now has to commit TP to get into the fight, so that's a channel time we have as an advantage. Once we see this Q stun here onto the Viego, we want to try and go in here. So what happens is, the fight begins, we use our W to absorb damage, right? We've got now our resistance is stacking, here we go. Scaling with our AP, of course. Bardol goes through, Viego's able to flash in space and time and get hit by the Bard. What happens now is the Nautilus tries to help, but this zones. And because Renekton cut up here, I love the way he played the game again, we know we can trigger pull this. The Kennen will have to TP to commit. Now he starts channeling, so we need to kill the target in front of us, which is, of course, the Nautilus. We then get the kill here from the Gwen. You can see that onto the Nautilus. Done, he's gone. Once this guy arrives here, we all converge onto the hamster, make sure he dies as quickly as possible. Snip, snip, snip. The Nyla shows up here, is going to do a little bit of a knocky-knocky. We get grouped up in the Orianna ult. Dashes out into a Renekton who can easily kill her. Gwen now gets knocked back again, but it was already killed too and can just go back in. Snip, snip, has smite, everything else. And this is where you win as Gwen. Played against Gwen yesterday as well. I was able to actually have a pretty decent lead, but it's about making sure that when you get to this stage, a 10k gold with 2 items, obviously here we have 2.5 in pocket, so you're already building next itemization choices. dominate fights, man. They actually FF from this because they know in Challenger that Gwen's just going to keep doing that. The fights are going to keep happening, and that's it. In your games, no one is going to FF this, but you take the Baron, you go back to base, you do standard mid-game stuff, you win your next team fights, links for those videos below, and you'll win. So, not the most sexy game from Canyon, but 13 out of 15 KP, most damage on his team by far, you can have a look at that as well. 1,000 extra damage from this, and bonus damage, not a lot from Riftmaker, 335, but he only just got it, so we can forgive that. Farm, sequence, scale, get 10k gold, run over people in team fights. Just use your E properly to get the empowered attacks as necessary. Make sure 1,000 cuts are doing as much true damage as possible. Max HP damage as possible in healing, and obviously hit the center of your snippies on your Q for some true damage. Goddamn.